più alla metà per ora. Okay, so, mach ich bloß nochmal was?
Aside.
Hey, subjectivists!
Hey! We started.
Hey, subjectivists! So, guess what, fellas?
Hey, we're back!
We must crack the Ditto Nut code, said another.
No, I don't want to crack a nut.
We must crack the mustard. We must cut the mustard. Yes!
Out of the way.
Yo, shouts out to
That's going
the
good.
guys who watch the stream.
Yeah, if you guys subscribe, if you pay $50 a month to the Patreon, you get to hear the raw footage.
You get to hear Jack burp into the mic.
I like how that's the $50 a month.
Terrorizing.
Ditto nut!
Ditto
Ditto
nut.
Nuts. No, okay. Alright, let's do a real intro now.
Okay. Subjectivists, it's time for. Oh, I spilled someone's.
Ditto Nut just entered the room.
I think that it might be an Ultra Beast.
The Ultra Beasts, introduced in Generation 7, are strange creatures that entered the world of Pokemon through portals into other universes. Because they're not technically Pokemon, many Ultra Beasts break the conventions of traditional Pokemon character design. Meltan's bizarre design could be explained if it was in fact a new Ultra Beast. In the official video where Meltan was announced, Professor Oak clearly states that it is a mythical Pokemon. While mythical Pokemon are very rare and can be odd-looking, they are still considered Pokemon, unlike Ultra Beasts. In conclusion, it is highly unlikely that Meltan is an Ultra Beast.
It's the Steel-type Eevee.
So, my theory is... This is so crazy. My theory is this is one of the 3 new starters from Gen 8, and the 3 starters in Gen 8 are not going to be fire, grass, and water.
They're gonna be Fairy Fighting and Steel, and Meltan will be the Steel type. Also unlikely. The main reason being that after over 20 years, Game Freak would suddenly decide that the starter Pokemon would no longer be grass, fire, and water types. The reason for the typing of the starter Pokemon in all previous games is to introduce to the player and have them become familiar with type effectiveness in battles. And while Steel, Fairy, and Fighting still demonstrate the same conventions of type effectiveness, they are generally harder types to become familiar with for new trainers, with no clear connection between the names of the types and why one is more powerful against the other. Not to mention, like we addressed before, Professor Oak confirmed that this is a mythical Pokemon. So yeah, there's like a 99.9% chance that this is not a new starter.
I actually am definitely on board with theory that Gen 8, they might actually break the starter. And the starting
That'd be
They would-
really
they would
great,
never.
but I don't think
I
they could
think
ever
they
do
will.
that.
I think they
It would be
at some
cool.
point.
It'd be cool if they started off not water, grass, fire, but then maybe the final forms included water, grass, and fire.
I mean, there's also just event Pokemon, mythic Pokemon that come
That's
out.
true.
This could just be the last Gen 7.
Mythical Pokemon, with the exception of Deoxys and Pokemon Oros, can only be obtained through events. They cannot be encountered during normal gameplay. They are often released several months or even a year after the core game of that generation has been released. Several mythical Pokemon have been leaked before their official release, often stirring up similar questions regarding their roles in the series. One mythical Pokemon, Manaphy, could only be obtained in the core games by transferring it from a side game, Pokemon Ranger. And while we know that Meltan is a mythical Pokemon, it is also unlikely that it is from Generation 7. Including the mythical Pokemon Zeraora, the National Pokedex ends at 807, meaning there are currently 807 known Pokemon. But in the code for Pokemon Go, Meltan is listed as number 891, meaning there are 84 unknown Pokemon between it and Zeraora. This, excitingly, means that it is very possible that Meltan is the first Pokemon released from Generation 8.
I like thinking about this as potential for a whole new generation of Pokemon. I like thinking about this maybe even having an evolutionary line. I might draw an evolutionary line for this. The other thing that is still very interesting is the fact that in the code it's listed as Kecleon, and Kecleon hasn't been released yet. Now,
Yeah, that's
I don't
very
know
weird.
a lot about coding,
So
but that could just
weird.
be they had room in the spot where Kecleon could go, and that's where they put it.
This much we can only speculate on given our limited knowledge of coding. Meltan in the code for Pokemon Go was listed as Kecleon. As strange as this may seem, it most likely has very little to do with the Pokemon as it stands in the official canon. Kecleon, along with Smeargle and Clamperl's evolutionary line, are currently undiscoverable in Pokemon Go. This may have something to do with Kecleon's ability, Color Change, which in the core games allows it to change type depending on what type of move it is hit with. While Pokemon in Pokemon Go do not have abilities, this may be something that Niantic is trying to work into the game in a different way, meaning it may be a while before you're actually able to catch it. That said, the extent of Meltan's relationships to Kecleon may end at its name in the code. Because Kecleon is not yet available in the game, Niantic may have been able to use its designated name as a placeholder in the code until Meltan's name was officially released. Again, this is mostly speculation on our part. Let us know in the comments if you have any further information concerning this topic.
I think it's a mythic Ultra Beast. I'm doubling down on that.
A mythic
I can,
Ultra Beast.
I can get behind
So
that.
like an event-only Ultra Beast?
Yeah, like Celebi, but for an Ultra Beast.
I guess the 91 would check off that if they added like 90 new Pokemon. I think it's an Ultra Beast though too.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanna think that maybe it's an Ultra Beast with an evolution.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I
Poipo.
was hoping. I would like that.
Aw, boy ball.
Wait, John, what's your
Bye-bye.
theory?
My theory? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to squeeze in my theory because it's just such a huge theory that I could never reveal. All right, bye.